I feel like it's a shared responsibility.
This whole podcast is a shared responsibility. So let's try and do the intro like it's a shared responsibility. And we'll do one word at a time.
Okay. Welcome
Back
to
the...
episode.
What? Welcome back to the episode.
No, it should be welcome back to a new episode of the BritCave. I don't know why you said...
I was going to do welcome back to the BritCaveBlitz podcast.
No,
Should we try again? We'll go your route.
Welcome
Back
to
another. You changed it. You said "I knew."
No, I said welcome back to another episode of the BritCave.
You said a new episode. Okay. No, I'm saying that's what you just told me. So we'll try again.
All right. Welcome
back
to
another
episode
of
the
BritCaveBlitz.
You can. I did 2 words then. You can find us on socials at BritCaveBlitz. I'm Smith, which is at SkyDaddySmith on Instagram and Instagram only. Samuel, you're you.
That was a really good intro, by the way. We were trying to share responsibilities.
It does not work.
Yeah, because you just keep changing how you're saying it.
No, I don't.
You told me you say it. Welcome back. We was going to say it. Welcome back to a new episode of the BritCaveBlitz podcast. You decided to change it to another, and you removed the podcast part. I was ready to go for it.
Welcome back to another episode of the BritCaveBlitz.
I think we missed. I don't know.
What?
I think I missed the part.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to sound amazing.
Well, okay, yeah, we're coming out of week 10, going into week 11.
Week 11. We've got some news. We've got some news to talk about.
Cleven.
Great news to talk about. Not great in the sense of that's amazing. Just big news. We'll start off. Travis Hunter is out for the season. The unicorn himself has been slain. I don't really know how.
The unicorn has lost his wings.
Exactly. Obviously, a big loss for...
Tripped you up. Only a Pegasus has wings. Unicorns don't have wings, you fucking moron.
Can't believe I got that wrong.
You dickhead.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one. I think this is what everyone expected, really, wasn't it, with the workload that he was taking on? I mean,
it says that he's had season-ending knee surgery, so it's...
yeah.
I don't know if it... I don't even remember him going out, like, due to a hit or anything like that. Yeah. Is it wear and tear type of thing?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Take a hit?
To me, it seems a bit more wear and tear. I don't remember him taking a hit, just based on the fact that he's not really taken many... Like, he's not got loads of receptions, and do you know what I mean? He's been on a lot of snaps, but it's not like he's got, like, an absurd amount of stats. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's got loads of tackles and loads of receptions.
Yeah, I get you.
So it could be a wear and tear thing. Obviously, a big loss for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, you say that, but I feel like, well, at least on the offensive side, one of the guys still on his rookie contract, Parker Washington, is it Washington, has stepped up and filled in, like, alongside Brian Thomas Jr. and who's the other wide receiver they've got as, like, the starting 3?
Jacoby Myers.
Is it Jacoby Myers?
It is now, isn't it? Who they traded for.
Yeah.
I mean, he has stepped up. I'm not saying like he had a massive impact on the offense, but he was still their first round pick. Like, there was still some expectations. There was still some development to be putting into a play, and to lose your first round pick in the opening season is never good, despite how well he was doing.
Yeah.
Like, you're losing a lot of value, aren't you? The next bit of news is the Brian Daboll firing at the New York Giants. Obviously, there's been a lot of discussion around why he's been fired. A big highlight of that is another losing season. Does seem a bit strange to be in the middle of the season because it's not typically the Giants' way. Obviously, I think it's Mike Kafka is going to take over as the interim head coach. As I said in the group chat, I think a lot of that comes down to losing 4 double-digit leads in a single season.
I was trying to look for that specific stat because I know it was like on the bounce.
Yeah. If you told me you lost 4 double-digit leads in 2 or 3 seasons, I'd be like, oh god, that's not great. But in 10 games is a bit much in it.
Yeah. It's hard to justify blowing a lead like that. You know, the players that they've signed and the players that they've drafted and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like they had clearly built up and stacked, especially the defense, to stop points getting in. But for some reason, you know,
a lot of it comes down as well. I think the poor use of Jackson Dart, who was pretty much could have saved Brian Daboll's job, and then like the thing is obviously in college, Jackson Dart loved to run someone over. Very different to be able to do that in the NFL as a quarterback. And when he's not very good at protecting himself, to put him on so many designed runs is a bit. It's not a great outcome, is it? A lot of people had the similar concerns for Jaden Daniels, and look how he's doing now. Like consistently injured. So I can see why they may have concerns, or that might have factored into him being fired. Was obviously for the second week in a row, Jackson Dart going into concussion protocol.
Yeah, it's like his 4th one in it on the season already. Yeah, I mean it's the QB draws and all that shit, which I mean I wouldn't 100% put down to him, but I guess at the end of the day, even if somebody else is calling the offensive plays, it's because it's his scheme as the head coach that he's put in place. It does kind of work that way. I did see a thing today that was like, even if he is fired and leaving, the one thing that obviously he did do good for the team was drafting Jackson Dart, because that was his choice and his guy. Whereas if it wasn't of him being so, like, I guess, hard-headed about getting him, they possibly would have gone in a different direction and things would have turned out way different.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I do agree with that. I think the problem is when if you bring in a rookie, you've also got to do somewhat of protecting him. I know Caleb Williams wasn't great in his first season. He also didn't know how to slide. So I feel like if he was better at protecting himself, that maybe they would have given him more chance to run with the ball, which seems to be what's happening now because he can protect himself a bit more. And I think that responsibility comes down to the head coach. If you've got a player who is struggling to protect himself and he needs to learn how to protect himself, you can't just keep putting him on these type of designed plays where he's going to get smashed every single time.
100%. It's weird because, like you say, it's the middle of the season. It would have been interesting to see how the actual full season unfolded and like where they would be, to see if they actually would have won some more games, or it really, like, you know, how people in the higher up positions can see it going, and that's why they got rid of him. If it would have actually turned out that way or not.
I agree. It's like they showed flashes as a team, and obviously they had some fantastic games. And
I mean, I'm not going to losing Scat has it clearly impacted them on the offensive side of things.
Yeah.
In order to put up points and win games, so there are things that I guess can't be helped as a head coach because it's not down to your decision making or anything like that or what you're doing. That is just shit happens.
Yeah, but like I was going to say, even in losses, they've looked somewhat capable.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously, losing one of your better players is out of your hands, but they've still looked somewhat or very decent without Scat. Obviously, not as good as they normally are. and then they still managed to throw away what seemingly looks like a game they should win.
Yeah, it's a hard decision at the end of the day. I do feel like, we've discussed this in the past. It might not always be the actual franchise itself, but definitely the fans are really quick to call for a head coach's head.
Yeah.
Which I can see both sides of, because I'm like, also, why are you doing it? He's only just got there. Then he needs time to build the program how they were going to build it and stuff like that. No head coach can just do that in a year. But then also, I do see it from the point of view of, well, there's talented guys on that roster, and you're just wasting their good years whilst you're trying to fix things. So it's hard. Do you have any like inklings or on where you think he could go after this? So like obviously last year the Robert Saleh mid-season firing, he's ended up on the 49ers as defensive coach.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what. I assume Daboll's an offensive-minded coach.
He obviously. I think one of the places he could end up going to is perhaps back to the Bills. They obviously need a bit of help there. They seem to be having a struggling season, and it was where he was from originally, wasn't it? Before he joined the Giants, and he's always been an offensive coordinator, hasn't he? So I assume he's an offensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Bills probably. I think I've read rumors that he could go to the Patriots, but for us, I think he was just a tight ends coach. He was never an offensive coordinator. I can't imagine he'd want to take that much of a step back.
Yeah.
And then teams he's been to previously. The other one I could potentially see is maybe the Dolphins. If the Dolphins have a bit of an uproot, he might potentially land himself there.
Yeah.
Do you?
I'm not 100% sure where I could see him. I think what you said about going back to the Bills, maybe like becoming an offensive coordinator there, sounds like the best shout. I was just thinking, and like, how like the appeal of say like a college coach coming to the NFL is like, oh, I'm going to the big leagues. I'm wondering how like a head coach position at college seems as a job compared to, like, would a head coach rather stay in the NFL but take a lower position, or would they are they somebody who still wants the head coach job even if it means going to college? Because at least then you're in control and can build your program and everything.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, when he left the Patriots, he went to Alabama, I think it was, an offensive coordinator. So, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't finish off why he wouldn't want to go to college, because he's done NFL to college before, but obviously this is a head coach position now. So there's potential that he could want to stay in the NFL, because head coach to coordinator of college is a huge step backwards. That brings us on to our hot takes. I guess it's going to be me to go first, because I think you went first last week on your own.
Who knows at this point?
You definitely went first on last week's episode, even though you was completely on your own. You read yours first. So I'll go first for this one. My first hot take is about Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles. My hot take is the reason they won't make a Super Bowl this week this year is completely down to the horrendous play calling. They have the talent to be contenders. Obviously, the defense played really well this week. Offensively, the play calling is really, really poor from both of them. Obviously, the Eagles have turned Saquon Barkley from the best running back in the league by a long shot to very mediocre. From what I saw in that game, it was very obvious which way he was going to run, depending on which way he was lining up. They don't seem to be calling outside runs. Everything seems to be on the inside. He just doesn't seem to be able to break off any big runs.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
The dynamic, like what was so dynamic about them last year was they could mask a lot of plays in formations. You don't see them really run any play actions. It was really, really. It's been really, really poor, and that was highlighted a lot yesterday. The same goes for Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur wrote his playbook the day before the season started. I think he completely forgot and decided to make. It's just far too simple. I don't know whether it's because he doesn't trust his team, or whether it's because he's just not that great at his job. We always joke about Jordan Love not being that guy, and when I say it, I mean he's not like the elite level, is he? He's not going to turn around and win a game kind of like Patrick Mahomes is able to do. But that doesn't mean he's not a great quarterback. He clearly shows he is a great quarterback. It's so simple how like they play the ball, like the play calls. It can be almost predictable in a way, and they have the talent to be able to be contenders. Obviously their wide receiver room. We joke about how it's always, or everyone jokes about how it's all just wide receiver twos, and they don't have a wide receiver one, and blah blah blah. Obviously they've lost a little bit on the O line, especially with the center in the center position. I just believe they could do more.
And this is for both teams. Yeah, it's not just one individual. You just think both of these teams.
Yeah,
Especially given all the hype around them and like them. Both teams are coming up as Super Bowl contenders. Their
offensive play calling is what is letting them down on both from both teams. Obviously, Philly is still winning and they're still getting the job done. When it gets to the playoffs, it's a completely different kettle of fish, and maybe the Eagles are masking and hiding how they're going to actually play. And Saquon Barkley, they want everyone to underestimate Saquon Barkley, so he ends up absolutely destroying it in the playoffs. I don't know, but yeah, it's just both of them seem to have really took this strip back playbook approach, and obviously with Green Bay now they're third in the division. I just think it's maybe time to try and inject a bit of life back into their offensive scheme.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have complained about this, and I think Greg has also complained about this, that Matt LaFleur specifically needs to step down from play calling on the offense. Yeah. Like that's what specifically needs to stop. But yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. Like I think we've said all season, the Eagles, as good as a team they are, like individually, like we can tell that these would win most games. Even when they are winning, they're not doing it flashy. They're not exciting us. And like watching that game the other day is, Jesus Christ, the amount of like fucking punting they had to do. You don't expect that from a team who, like you said, I would say twice a game, Saquon's breaking off for 30 to 60 yard runs. Yeah, it's just something has drastically changed, and it's not the players, because they kept a lot of fucking stuff. They kept a lot of their like roster the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's visually, you can see it visually how much their run game has changed, and it just all like they don't. The only time you see Saquon break off a big run is because the inside line or like lane has been blocked off, so he bounces to the outside and rips off a massive run. They just don't want to run it to the outside. They don't play actions. It just like I'm not some football genius. I don't even want to pretend to be. But you watch an Eagle game and it becomes very obvious when they're going to run the ball. You can just tell by the way that they're lined up.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I've seen a thing. I actually haven't concentrated and like watched to see if that is still true. That like the way that Saquon stands is a big tell. Like if it's a pass, he's looking at the defense because he's looking who he's got to block. But if it's a run, he's just looking straight ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So maybe there are things like that where it's like, oh, that is a clear tell. Everybody else has picked up on it, and it's like, okay, well, they might still gain yards because they are a good team, but they're not gonna, like we say, rip a chunk off again. But no, I completely agree with that. I would say for my own personal reasons, I'd rather not see either of them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, look, fucking hell, if we just watched that game, if either of those offenses were in the Super Bowl, Jesus Christ, that would be boring. I would rather sit and watch a marathon of the Fast and Furious movies.
The Fast and Furious movies are very good, to be fair.
My hot take number one. Kyler Murray is not the guy for the Cardinals. Since he's been out, regardless if they're losing, the Cardinals' offense has been performing much better without him and with Jacoby Brissett, who, like, for all intents and purposes, isn't a QB1, but he's still serviceable. So a bit like, what Joe Flacco is doing at the Bengals. Still a decent QB. His completion to attempts against the Seahawks is 50%, but he's still managing to put up 260 yards and 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kyler, I think, has had the issue that you've had against Caleb Williams, which is because he knows he can run. He holds onto the ball way too long, whereas Jacoby Brissett is actually going through his reads and his route tree and getting the ball out. And then obviously I saw another thing about, Tua complaining about how sometimes he can't see over his offensive line. Physically, that has got to mean that our, most to not, if not all the time, Kyler Murray cannot see over his line. And that may be another reason why he does not sit in the pocket, because he literally cannot see where to throw to. But the gist of it is, Kyler Murray is not that guy.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the Kyler Murray experiment has got to be over at this point. He's clearly not as capable as the Cardinals thought. There seems to be some weird rules as to when he can be good and when he's not good. You see him sometimes and he looks like he's going to be great, and then the next week he's not. It's very strange. I think they need to start to maybe look beyond that, especially like you said, because Jacoby Brissett has come on and that offense hasn't realistically got worse.
I mean, like I said, I'm not basing it on the wins. I'm looking at the stats, and I'm looking at like Marvin Harrison Jr., who was supposed to be this amazing wide receiver. And like when he actually got the ball, could do bits, but then he was just not getting the ball off Kyler. Now he's getting the ball off Jacoby Brissett. He's actually able to push the ball downfield for them. And then, Trey McBride, great tight end. His stats have been boosted because of this. Like I'm looking at the team as a whole. Statistically, you can see have actually improved.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I if you're putting in your backup and your offense isn't getting any worse because of injury, like your backup's coming in and your offense is not taking a small back step or anything like that, then you need to look at the value of your starting quarterback. I'm not saying like you should expect your offense to be all of a sudden crap because you've got your backup in, because obviously you want your backup to do a good job. It's not like the offense was amazing, then you brought Brissett in and it stayed the same and it's still amazing. You didn't have a great offense. You bring Brissett in and it's the same, if not better, then that's when you need to start to look at maybe your quarterback is not as good as you once hoped.
But yeah, that's my hot take.
My hot take number 2 is that the Patriots' last 2 wins are better than any of their previous wins, despite them being ugly and close. And this is a hot, like, for me, the reason I'm saying this is because obviously it's great. You blow out people like the Panthers who were looking fairly decent and you absolutely destroying them. Our issue was last year, if a game was ugly and close and we wasn't playing well, we were going to lose that game. So it's great to see us turning those type of games into wins, despite them being close and despite them being like, mistake heavy. When I say mistake heavy, like we could have won that more if we didn't do X, Y, and Z. Turning those type of games into a win is so much better than having a game where you absolutely destroy a team because they look a lot worse than you do.
I mean, yeah, I get where you're coming from with that.
Like as a fan of a team, especially as a fact, like obviously we've not been bad for too long, but as a fan of a team who've been bad the last couple of seasons, being able to see us, like I said, turn these what would have been losses, like especially against the Falcons in such a close game, if we would have had that game last season where we made that many mistakes and we allowed that many pressures on our quarterback, we would have had no chance of winning that game. The fact that in the fourth quarter I was sat there nervously wondering if we're going to win the game is such an improvement on how it was last year, where it was kind of like a bit more like, yeah, we're not going to win this game. I can tell you from
okay. Yeah, that's good. I know most people are going to fucking hate you for it because you're like, yeah, finally we're good again. As a Patriots fan.
Exactly. I don't like doing that because, to be fair, it sounds really like what's the word? Entitled.
Yeah,
I don't want to be entitled because I understand that we've had a lot of sustained success. But
I
obviously,
do love all the like memes and
I
everything where it's like a Patriots fan saying, "We've had our time. We're back. We should have our time again now. Like we've paid our dues. We've had some
yeah,
losses. We've had a couple of seasons down." And then like a Jets fan saying, "You would not survive if you were one of us."
yeah. Yeah, obviously, like we could have been worse for a longer time. I'm just trying to look at it in a vacuum, so to speak. Anyway, would you like to say your hot take number 2 before I dig myself an even bigger hole?
Okay, my hot take number 2. Despite winning this game, I still feel that Tua Tagovailoa is not that guy.
I mean, yeah, to turn the ball over.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, they won the game by 30 points. He threw for 2 touchdowns, but also still 2 interceptions. You know, like I know the Bills are the ones that lost, but the Bills lost because everything is sort of being carried on Josh Allen's back. If
Yeah,
everything was put on Tua's back, they wouldn't be winning games. They won the game because everything was put on the running back's back.
yeah,
They're a good fucking running back. I don't know what his issue is. I don't know if it's the consistent and many concussions, or he's just in the wrong scheme. Because you know we had that year the other year where because they were playing so fast, they were that team that putting up 70 points in certain games.
yeah,
But then he's been figured out, and rather than being, I feel bad saying like being a talented quarterback who can adapt and overcome and change like their play style in certain ways to still get the wins. He's just in that mode, and it's just like, oh, you're reading me. Okay, well I'll still throw the ball exactly where I'm going to do it.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's got to come down to some level of him being absolutely lit up so
Yeah.
many times that he's no longer capable of forming a sentence.
I mean, like the only thing that I'm curious about is how the team would do if either him or the head coach left. But like you would only find out one way or another. You wouldn't be able to see like what happens if both. You can't like have both things and then compare them to be like,
Yeah,
okay, he was the issue. Because it's one of them where I'm looking at Tua and I'm like, if you went somewhere else, I don't think you'd fit in anywhere else either.
no. It's very obvious that the team is struggling, or when they do struggle, it comes down to his turnovers. He's sailing a lot of balls. His ability as a quarterback has severely fallen off. So I mean, I'm right there with you when you say he's not that guy. He's definitely lost the ability to be that guy. And he's memed a lot, but he's memed a lot for the I want to say the right reasons, but the reasons is because he's just not great. It's not like someone taking the mick out of someone who's doing really well. He's just poor, and like you said, they've got to find out a way on whether it's a Tua problem or a head coach problem. I do believe it is a Tua problem.
I will say as well, like the way that he's sort of playing, I think a lot of people are like, well, we know he's a good quarterback because he beat out the reigning Super Bowl quarterback in college for the starting position.
Yeah, and
But
Justin Fields won the Heisman.
yeah, I was gonna say, but even like Justin Hurts, actually, Jalen Hurts, yeah, he's on a winning team and he's not making many mistakes. But I wouldn't say that he's a great quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't. Like, I feel like there's many quarterbacks in the league who probably could have beat him out in that position. So it doesn't really mean much. But yeah, essentially, yeah, Tua is just not that guy.
Also, I didn't mean Justin Fields, by the way. I meant Bryce Young.
Ah,
Okay, well, we'll move on to my third, final hot take. Probably not a hot take, but it's the Colts are an extremely one-dimensional team, and it's getting more and more obvious as the week goes on that if you stop Jonathan Taylor, you stop that whole offense. The first 5 weeks or 6 weeks, it was really exciting because obviously Daniel Jones looked really good, like he reclaimed his ability to be a quarterback. And we were kind of like, see, Giants, he just needed a decent running back, he needed a decent O-line, and he's capable. As these last few weeks have gone on, you kind of see him slipping back into this kind of mistake-heavy kind of role, and his ability to be able to pass find his open wide receivers comes on to the point that they're struggling to double team these players simply because they really, really do have to watch out for how good Jonathan Taylor is, especially behind what is a great O-line. In the games that the 2 games that they have lost, Jonathan Taylor just hasn't had the performance that you would expect of him.
Not at all. And I would say, and I had said this during that Berlin game, that all right, yeah, there was points that obviously there was mistakes made, and he was able to rip off a chunk of yardage, but there were so many times where it was like, we know this is going to be a run, we shut it down, and then we were keeping them to a 3rd and out, and that's a defense who is known to be bad at stopping the run.
I just want to point out, it's like the Steelers. Jonathan Taylor had 45 yards. That was the one loss. And at the Rams game, he had 75 yards, and that was the other loss. And both of those were with 14 carries and 17 carries, respectively. But when they beat the Titans, he only had 12 carries, but ran off for 153 yards. So it's very clear that it's not just him getting more carries or less carries in a game. They seem to be able to stop that run, and stopping that run really does make that team seem very one-dimensional.
I agree. My 3rd and final hot take, and I think this is the one that you'll most agree with, and you've kind of already brought it up. Do you want to guess who it is and what it is?
No, I don't.
All right, my 3rd and final hot take is Jordan Love is not that guy.
So just 2 not that guys.
What do you mean 2 not that guys? I've done 3. That's 3 not that guys. Kyler Murray, and Jordan Love.
You've got.
I mean, they're all QBs. All QBs,
all...
but my theme is they're not that guy.
Fair enough.
Well, I just wanted to bring it up again because of the last fucking performance, and I would probably say the performance before that as well.
Yeah, he's not been great in these last 2 games. He's obviously this last game was the one where he's getting tackled and he throws it in the air.
I'm not just saying the last 2 because they're fucking losses, but like, I get, right, okay, the Eagles, okay, but the Panthers, man.
Yeah. From my point of view, when I say he's not that guy, I don't mean he's a terrible quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. He's just not the person to be able to turn losses into wins. When the pressure is high, when the lights are on, he just seems to underperform. If you're losing to the Browns and the Panthers, and it's because you just simply can't put up more than 16 points, you've got to have a look at the quarterback at that point.
I would say also to, tie with the Cowboys. Like, that's a team who is, defense has been drastically terrible this year.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that was a 40-40 game, so I can't really put much on that. He threw for over 300 yards and stuff like that. But
I guess
if Aaron Rodgers was playing with the Packers this season, they would probably be 8-0-1. I can't see him being able to do much to turn that Cowboys game around because obviously it was 40-40, and it's hard to say that. But there's no way he doesn't win those 3 other games that they lost, but still managed to keep the opposition team to less than 16 points in all 3 of those games.
See, my problem with Jordan Love is that I think, and it kind of goes to what you were saying for your first point, that the play calling has been shit. He is robotic. Like, he gets the play call, does the play call. There's no changing things, adapting at the line. There's no drawing out the play to make a big gain. A bit like, look, we don't have like the biggest faith in the scramblers all the time, but when they can do it well, it's because they've read the defense, they've got out of a situation, and they've been able to eat up a chunk of yardage, whether with the legs or throwing it. He's just not somebody that I can see doing that. And like, we've seen multiple times this season, when he's tried to escape the pocket, he takes like a 15-yard sack.
Yeah.
He didn't even throw the ball away. He's like, oh, I wasn't supposed to, I can't get it to that one guy, so I'll keep it because I'm not going to get it to him. It's like, does not compute.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, it's like he doesn't think for himself. He's not creative.
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't have to be creative. He just doesn't think for himself. It's just like, this is the call. if something happens to like when you can run a route and you have a couple of options depending on what the defense is sitting in.
Yeah.
It's almost as if like, oh, okay, well that's number one route of those three that he will run. If he doesn't run that number one, I'm not passing it to him.
Yeah. The way I see it is, I think he's obviously very athletic. He's got a great arm on him. Showed quite poor accuracy in this Eagles game, and maybe that was confidence of play calling. But generally, he's quite accurate. But it's like you said, he just doesn't have that factor of being what makes a great quarterback, an elite quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
when you can, and we've said it before, when you're coming after someone like Aaron Rodgers, like your expectations are going to be so much higher, and he just doesn't seem to match that expectation, at least for me as a person on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and it's like you said, I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think he is a good quarterback, but he's not. I don't know, like he's missing that thing. I would say like it's the difference between being a team's quarterback and a team's star quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to get the job done, right? He's going to do what you want him to do, and he's going to do it better than most quarterbacks.
Yeah, you can't. I can't see him like arguing and negotiating for a raise because of how well he's done. He's been like, well, this is my paycheck. There we go. Thumbs up.
Well, he's not going to argue because he's getting paid an absolute shit ton for his ability. But it's the way I see Jordan Love is the same way that I think a lot of people argue for Jalen Hurts' kind of ability. Is no one is doubting that Jalen Hurts isn't a great quarterback. I think the difference is obviously Jalen Hurts has that leadership quality, but he's just not. He's not a game changer, is he? He's not like Lamar Jackson, who no matter where you are in the game, no matter what it is, there's always going to be a chance that you win the game just simply because you have that player on your team.
I think it's one of them, even with Jalen Hurts. It's never an argument of they're a bad quarterback and nobody's arguing against that. Yeah. It's when people are like, oh, he's a top 5 quarterback, and like, no, he isn't.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not the case, is it?
I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He's just not one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my my hot take 3.
Your hot take. That brings us on to week 11.
We'll
start off with the bye week games. The most boring bye week of the week. Who is on it?
Cincinnati Bengals, Dallas Cowboys.
I think you're looking at the wrong week.
I'm looking at the wrong week. The Indianapolis Colts and the New Orleans Saints.
Someone's looking at week 10.
Yeah. Week 11 bye week.
The most boring bye week of the week, or the most exciting. Well, I guess just you don't have to watch the Saints play.
Gotta look at the positives. I mean, you say you don't have to watch the Saints. I wasn't watching them play anyway. Fuck them.
But Thursday night game with the New England Patriots. We're going to watch the dullest game in the league, in the whole season. Sorry, that's New York Jets.
Uniforms.
This is the New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Both of them in their rival jerseys that looked discolored. This is a game for some reason. Obviously, the Jets beat the Browns. On a really hot 2-game win streak. The Patriots beat the Buccaneers. I live in fear of this game. I really shouldn't, because it's the Jets. We should be able to win this game, but it just seems like we're at this potential where we could just fucking slip up against a crap team like the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I opened up the thing on ESPN and it says match predictor is 28.2% for the New York Jets, and went, Jesus Christ, that's high.
Yeah. We are obviously in a really hot period, and I don't really. I try to avoid to talk too highly of the Patriots in a minute, just simply because I don't want to curse us. We also have a very easy schedule and still continue to have an easy schedule, which is why, like I said earlier, I really like the last two wins we had, because they're ugly wins that we've had to grind out and earn that win. I really, really do think we will win this game. We look like a much better team. The Jets are struggling. They've obviously got rid of some of their bigger players because they are going into it to rebuild mode. We are hopefully on the outside of our rebuild mode and now on the up and up. So please, Patriots, don't let me down.
I would confidently say you guys got this because, their biggest playmaker on offense is Brees Hall, and apart from that, last game, you have still been extremely consistent at being able to stop the run. What did Sean Tucker end up with then? Being like the first one to get 50 yards or more?
53.
53 yards, so it wasn't that much more.
No.
It's not like he was like, well, I'm going to break that record. 200. It was, no,
Yeah.
there you go. There's 3.
And Trayvon Henderson did 2 runs bigger than that.
True. Very true. And then, like you said, their star defensive tackle, who is a great run stopper, no longer there. Great, star cornerback who, would shut down receiver ones, who I guess would have been paired up against Stephon Diggs because he's your leading receiver at the moment.
Yeah.
I think this game is your oyster, but it is one of them that, like you said, when it's against those weird, not even a weird team, where it's like, I'm so confident that God just wants to slap me in the face for it.
Yeah, and not only that, it's a division game. Division games are always weird. We had, like, at our height, like 10 years ago, we would lose to Dolphins no matter how shit they were. We would end up losing to the Dolphins. So this could be one of those. That might be why I'm nervous. I do believe Garrett Wilson is potentially out still.
He's down as doubtful,
which obviously is good for us because our secondary is great, and if we've not got great is an over exaggeration. I don't think our secondary play calling could be a bit more dynamic because obviously you're not going to have Gonzo following the wide receiver one all game, otherwise he'd be knackered. So it'd be nice to maybe scheme up some double teams on the wide receiver one while Gonzo follows the wide receiver two. That's just my point of view. But I think having that out and out wide receiver one out definitely should make that battle a lot easier. And like you said, we've been very consistent with stopping the run, with the most rushing yards being put up against us by an individual being 53, and their best player at the minute being a rusher. I hope we are able to contain them.
I mean, I think you will. I think you will easily. So yeah, if you want to watch that and keep smacking your TV, saying why the fuck is the color wrong, enjoy.
Yep, and that will move us on to the midweek game, which is Washington at Miami Dolphins. We were planning to go to this game. We forgot to buy the tickets, and now we're glad we forgot to buy the tickets because this is going to be the worst game of the week because it's Tua turn the ball over versus Marcus Mariota. The Washington Commanders coming off a 44-22 loss to the Lions, and the Dolphins surprisingly beating the Bills. If the Dolphins lost this game to the Bills, I think I would have been way more confident to say that the Commanders were going to win this game. I'm a lot less confident in that now. Despite the Dolphins being a really trash team, I think we've heaped a lot of praise onto their kind of defense. We don't think they're an out-and-out great defense, but they're a serviceable defense. They're one of the better defenses in the league. Obviously, the offense has let them down. The Washington are really is just struggling with a graveyard of players at the minute, especially offensively.
Yeah, I think this is the Dolphins' game to take. Like I said, if anything, just because of the amount of healthy first stringers they have. Waddle, like when he can actually get the ball in his hands, to me feels like they never needed Tyreek Hill. He's an out and out wide receiver one.
Yeah.
And then like the running back room, obviously a couple of years ago with Mostert and Achan was great, but it turns out Achan is just great on his own. And the
Yeah.
defense for I mean, Jesus Christ, like, haven't they got like two guys suspended because one of them punched Amon Ra in the face and one of them hit an official?
Yeah.
Like in that frustrating Lions game. So even though the defense wasn't great, they've also lost more players. So yeah, I think for someone like the predictor thinks that Washington still has a chance, but I say the trash defense, the injuries, and then Jaden Daniels being out.
Yeah.
Even with him not playing, I would say he's not been playing great this year, but I also think that's because of the injuries. Has Terry McLaurin played a game this year?
No.
Like he's down his wide receiver one. Yeah, there's just issues everywhere, and I think this is the Dolphins' game to take quite easily.
Yeah. Okay, well, that takes us on to our next game.
And yeah,
this is
like you
divisional.
said, so happy that we didn't get those tickets.
Yeah, definitely. That brings us on to our next game. That next game is the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. I'll let you start off on talking about this one. But the Panthers lost to the Saints. The Falcons lost to the Colts.
Very much scared of this game. In the same regards that you are scared of the Jets game, and then also they beat us. What did they beat us? 30-0 or 40-0?
30-0 it was, wasn't it?
30-0. Yeah, I just a similar thing to the Eagles and the Packers that we talked about before. Play calling is shit and predictable, regardless if Carolina actually being able to put up points on offense. Their defense is playing decent against the pass game and decent against the run. If they know what's coming every time, we're just not gonna do anything yet again.
Yeah.
And it will be one of those games where one mistake turns into a returned touchdown by the defense rather than like the Patriots who can recover. Defense can get a stop and then they can go again type thing. So yeah, no, if at the start of the season this was one of my picks for there's an easy win for us, but no, I'm shit scared that we're going the 3-6 Falcons that we are going against the 5-5 Panthers.
Yeah. The way I see it and the way I saw the Falcons play against the Colts, you obviously was a very, very close game. Drake London again had a good game. Penix Jr. really does need to start working on his accuracy. It was very poor from him that week. I mean, maybe it's my curse, but since I said Bijan Robinson is the best running back, potentially best football player in the league, you seem to give up on giving him the ball. Or when you do give him the ball, like you said, the play calling is so predictable and poor that he barely gets anything. He went from I think he's under 5 yards a carry, which in somewhat is fairly decent. But when you compare it to when you played the Bills and he was going for 170 yards he was going for 170 yards on 20 carries compared to 85 yards on 17 carries. I think it's what he had against the Falcons, against the Colts. Something is fundamentally not right. I don't think it's a Bijan problem.
I don't think so either. It is, to me, a play calling issue.
Yeah.
But I am hoping that things have been fixed. And as much as I agree with Penix's accuracy, I also do think that there's another issue in the fact that if we're not handing it off to Bijan, we are pretty much only throwing it to Drake London because Kyle Pitts has not lived up to his entire hype, and he's still not. I thought when Penix was going to get his season to be the out and out starter, it felt like last year when he got those few games, he had a good connection with Pitts. That was going to change. It hasn't. Darnell Mooney has been out most of the season, and when he's been in, I don't think he made any difference to the game whatsoever. It still felt like, those are two other people on the offense. Ignore them. He's still going to throw it to Drake London. Let's just color London. And the only reason London's getting the fucking ball to his hands is because he's a good player and he's so fucking tall he can just stand over people.
Yeah. I agree. I obviously obviously Algier got the share of the touchdowns this week, but
Yeah,
he's so good in that red zone that it makes sense that they keep him that way. They kind of get that 1-2 punch,
yeah.
but
I did say it's turned into a Seahawks situation where Bijan's doing most of the field work, and because Algier's the power back, he's getting the punch in at the end.
yeah, which I think is completely fine, but it's just the fact that you seem to have lost the dynamic style you had with Bijan.
Yeah.
And yeah, it comes down to the play calling. I do back the Falcons to make a bit of a comeback and win this game against Panthers, because I think it's over these last few games of losses, it's become glaringly. I won't say glaringly, but it's become more and more obvious where the issues lie, and hopefully they're very they can see clearly where that issue is and make the correct adjustments. Because you've gone from, I think you won the game against the Bills, which was your last game. I said I think Bijan went for 170 yards rushing, and then in the next game against the 49ers, he went for less than 50, and then same again against the Dolphins. I think in the last 4 games he's got pretty much less combined yards than he had in one game against the Bills.
It's stupid.
Yeah. And for me, I don't think it necessarily comes down to the teams being able to stop the run. I think it comes down to they're just not giving him the ball enough in ways that he can make bigger plays.
I also think it's extremely similar in the fact that, you said about Barkley before, there's a lot of runs up the middle rather than, what worked well, which was outside runs. I know we're still doing a lot more, like we're still a lot closer to more outside runs than inside runs, but they have, I think, getting closer to evening out. I think that's down to the O-line injuries, that they're just like, we don't have the O-line personnel who can do what's needed for an outside run of getting around the corner and sealing in defenders. So they're just not like, well, we can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the thing, but yeah, it's too predictable.
Well, let's move on then, and let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Buffalo Bills. I think a couple of weeks ago we would have probably been very excited for this game as a potential shootout game. Obviously, the Buccaneers are coming off a loss to the Patriots, and the Bills coming off a loss to the Dolphins. The Bills just not looking like themselves at the minute. Their defense is extremely poor. Well, was extremely poor against the Dolphins. They just don't seem to have anybody who's willing to make any form of attempt to make a play. I don't think they even registered a sack. I think a lot of their issues come down to, obviously, they turned the ball over quite a few times, and I think that's James Cook and Josh Allen both fumbled the ball on essentially what was kind of hero ball, trying to get a few extra yards that they probably shouldn't have got, but they were trying too hard and then ended up fumbling the ball. I understand why they're trying too hard. They're trying to recover a game. But yeah, they're definitely not looking like their usual selves, which paints the picture of potentially the Buccaneers winning this game. Obviously, they lost to us. I want to put that down to us just being the better team and less on the fact that the Buccaneers were failing, because they were still great. Obviously, Mayfield had a fantastic game, throwing for 3 touchdowns. Ibuka looked amazing on the receptions that he had. I think we just outplayed them, and for me, the Buccaneers should be able to walk all over this Bills team.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like that. I just, my opinion on the Bills, weirdly, is the fact that their weakness is teams that they should be able to bowl over. We've expected them to bowl over. Anytime it's one of those teams, they're not performing well. But when it's a team like the fucking Chiefs, they're winning by a full score.
it's very common for a team to play down to the teams that they're playing against. You see it a lot with the Packers at the minute. It's like they seem to play down to the team. It can come down to readiness. Maybe they're not taking practice as serious because they're going like, we should win this game, easy game for us. We don't need to practice as hard. Oh shit, maybe we should have practiced as hard. I think I agree with you. Like, they seem to lose to games that you think, well, the Bills should definitely be winning this game. The way they played against the Dolphins, I think there was a lot of fundamentals they were just getting wrong. And they're an experienced team. They've got an experienced head coach, experienced play callers. They definitely can iron that out. But will they iron that out against the Buccaneers? I just don't know. And despite how good Josh Allen is and how good he can be, there comes a point where you need to have some weapons.
Yeah, I was watching something. Well, I mean, it was technically on Keon Coleman, how he's not progressed the way that obviously people thought he was going to progress and stuff. Some people think it is that's also down to the play calling. Some people think it's down to confidence things. But another thing that they brought up there is that like the Bills don't really have a deep threat anymore. Like last year, it was Matt Collins who, well, I think proved in the last game is still a deep threat for you guys.
Oh yeah, I mean he's been great for us despite being a weird human being.
Yeah. So like it does feel like they've lost that element to their game where there's a player that can draw defenders downfield. Instead, they're all sitting further up and stopping, like, say a comeback route.
Yeah.
They're all saying like, well, there's clearly not going to throw it deep, so there's no way we're going to push off and get them. Like I know you've complained in the past, like where a team's winning, so the defense just goes further back and it's like, we'll allow you yards and we'll just keep shutting you down type thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that because they're not expecting everybody to run past. They're just be like, well, they're all going to be shorter out, so we'll just keep sitting up here.
Yeah, which also takes away from Josh Allen's ability to run.
Yeah.
Because
There's no massive
around the
gaps.
There's no massive line between the linebackers and the secondary. I agree. They're lacking a lot in that department, and yeah, if you can't spread the field, then you're going to lose a lot of ability to play what is fairly straightforward football. Right. Well, we'll move on then to the Houston Texans at the Tennessee Titans. From my point of view, I don't really have much to say about this game. I think it's come on a good time because obviously CJ Stroud, I think, is down as questionable. They might want to sit him out of this game just because they're playing the Tennessee Titans. I just cannot see the Tennessee Titans winning another game at this point. I know they beat the Cardinals, but it's going to be a really tough old time for them to win a game. And the Texans playing Davis Mills or whatever he's called, I don't think is going to result in them losing the game. He had a somewhat fairly serviceable and decent game against the Jags and put up 36 points. Something I don't think we've seen CJ Stroud do this year, apart from when they beat the Ravens, who have one of the worst secondaries in the league. He's clearly getting the job done.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if this was an O-line improvement or being against a not as effective D-line.
Yeah.
I'd say, for the Titans, I do respect their blitzing ability on defense, and their line is pretty decent at stopping the run. I don't think that the Texans run it that much anyway because, the main guy is Nick Chubb, or they've got Woody Marks, the rookie. I don't think they're relying too heavily on that. It is more in the passing game, to which, they're not great at stopping. So I think, I don't think they're going to have too much issues, but this could easily be one of those games like we've had in the past where it's, the Texans, I mean, a bit like the Jags game, where they're like, oh, they're losing. Shit. Oh, well, they've lost this. They'll recoup and go, and then in the fourth quarter, it's like, oh, wait, no, they're good.
Yeah, we just somehow put up 26 points to overcome a 19-point deficit.
And then I will say, like, out of that team, fucking hell, Danielle Hunter is amazing.
Oh yeah, he's unreal.
Yeah,
He definitely makes a huge change on that defense.
and
He's one of the biggest reasons that they only concede 17 points or whatever it is on average a game.
yeah, and I will say like the acquisition of Will Anderson Jr. that year, the same year as Stroud, combining with Daniil
Daniil.
Hunter is
Yeah.
it's almost like a cheat code because it again we've discussed it so many times. It's like there's those good defenders was like, oh which one do we double block? Because whichever one you double block, the other one is getting through.
Yeah.
Like the amount of sacks that Hunter had that last game, was it 5 against the Jags? And then the one time they're like, we have to stop this right at the end
No,
of the
I think
game.
he got 4, maybe 3.5, but still a lot.
Yeah. All right, maybe he was in on 5 sacks, but like he didn't get 5
Yeah.
total type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one time they're like, all right, we can't let him through. It's the end of the game. We need this pass to go off. They let fucking Will Anderson through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was, and they're just a lethal combination, and I think it's great.
Right. Well, moving on. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. Chicago Bears with a fourth quarter comeback to beat the New York Giants, and the Vikings lost to the Baltimore Ravens. Well, I'm going to start off with the Bears. Kalen Williams is week by week starting to look like the potential player that everyone expected him to be. It's probably not great for everyone in the NFC North, but he's starting to look legit. I'll be honest with you. He's getting better and better as the time goes on. Obviously, they signed CJ Gardner Johnson, who had a very decent game on the defensive side, and they're just finding ways to win games. They tied for first the division only based on tiebreakers alone because they got absolutely destroyed by the Lions. But week after week, this team looks better in all places. They still need to maybe work on the penalties. Luckily, they went up against the Giants, who decided to out penalty them this week. But yeah, as a team, as a whole, looking much better. How the Packers have thrown away that division is crazy to me. The only people that are behind the Packers is the Vikings. JJ McCarthy had a great season in the great game in his first return game, and then in this second game looked a bit boneheaded. Whether that's because he was forcing it, I don't know. But yeah, not great.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of explained it all, really. I think, yeah, Caleb Williams is on the rise. I am accounting that to Ben Johnson taking the lead. Uh, I think it was good that Johnson came in, kind of like whipped him into shape of like, stop fucking doing this. And then as
Yeah,
he's like done what he's told, and he's like, okay, I'll let you off the leash a little bit more. Okay, now you can do those things that you used to do because you've honed these skills. We know for a fact now if those things aren't going off, it's because they can't go off. We're trusting you a bit more, and he's showing that I didn't watch him in college, but I assume this is like what all the hype was around, like the
yeah.
way he plays like this. I will say the one thing about the Bears is imagine if he had a fucking good run game.
Oh yeah, 100%. The running game looked a little bit better this week, and obviously Swift has had some decent games, but if they had a consistent back who could get to 80 yards a game every single game, then yeah, they would be in a much better position. But yeah, week after week, improving.
100%. And then yeah, the Vikings. I think this is it them that have said like well a rookie's got to go through the motions type thing. We
Yeah,
can't just that is just kind of what it is. And I guarantee that people will be angry, being like, "How dare you go through the motions when we have Jettis who can win us games and blah blah blah." But there's issues on other parts of the team as well.
yeah. I still think defensively they're a great team.
Oh yeah,
Offensively, they still have things to work on. seem to have lost the ability to run the ball, even though Aaron Jones is still a great running back. And obviously, Jordan Mason, yeah, not great. He's decent, but he's not great. But you're right. When you have someone like Justin Jefferson on your team, I know he's going to be double teamed all the time and things like that. But like watching some of the plays and some of the mistakes that McCarthy was making, he's throwing behind his players a lot. He's or throwing it over the head, or like it's not like for me. There's going through the motions, and then there's just not making great decisions or great throws, and he's slowly going onto the side of just not being great in that sense. Uh, we'll see if he can recover it, but yeah, it's definitely not going to happen against the Bears, and I think the Bears take this game. Is this a
Moving on.
prediction game?
Wait, what?
Is this a prediction game?
No.
I was just joking because I said. We'll move on to the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, we have passed the prediction game. Oh shit!
Oh no,
I didn't have them in order, so I was still waiting for the other one to come up first. The Bucks and the Bills was a prediction game.
the Bucks and the Bills was a prediction game, so I'm going to go with the Bucks.
All right, I'll make it spicy and go with the Bills.
Yeah, we'll move on then, and we'll get to the Green Bay Packers at the New York Giants. The Green Bay Packers lost a torrid affair to the Eagles, and the Giants lost an even more torrid affair to the Bears. I haven't got much to say about this because we talked about these teams quite a lot. But what I will say is, for me, if the Packers don't win this game, they might not make the playoffs. Their running after this game is the Vikings, the Lions, the Bears, the Broncos, the Bears, the Ravens, the Vikings. They went 1-5 last year in divisional games, and we're talking about teams here. The other teams, when you're looking, I say the other teams, yeah. You've got the Ravens who have Lamar Jackson, and no matter how good your defense is, he's going to put up points. And then you've got Broncos who have a great defense, and the Packers can't seem to perform against teams with good defenses. And then you've got the divisional wackiness. This is a serious game that they need to win if they want to seriously make the playoffs. Let's be honest. Out of these last few games, how many do you see them winning? They've got to go against the Lions again. They obviously beat them in the opening game. I don't see them being able to do that again. They're going to play the Bears twice. The Bears is just getting better week by week. The Vikings, yeah, they'll probably beat the Vikings, but again, the Vikings have a decent defense, and will the offense be able to outscore what their defense holds the Vikings to? I don't know. Against that Vikings defense.
Yeah, there's a lot of unsureties there, and like I could confidently say the only one where I'm like, yeah, they're gonna beat that is, I mean, even that one, I'm like, maybe not now Lamar's back.
Yeah, exactly, and like I can see them winning this Giants game. I'm not saying that they won't, but there's a potential that they could end up losing this game. This Giants defense can put up. This Giants team can put up points. They do keep slipping up and losing games, and they're obviously 2-8, which is not a great record. It's not.
The winner of this will be solely determined on who starts at quarterback for the Giants.
Oh yeah, I agree. If Russ starts, then they're not going to win this game at all. If Jackson starts, they stand a good chance. I don't think this is an out and out Packers win this game. They should win this game, but there's still a chance that the Giants win this game. And if they do, the Packers are going to really struggle to make the playoffs this year, which is a disappointment
which is weird because like last week weren't they the first seed?
Oh yeah, they were the first seed last week. Yep. 2 weeks ago they were the first seed. I think they dropped to the second seed after they lost to the Panthers, and now they've dropped to third in their division after they lost to the Eagles. We go on to the Old Man Bowl, a recreation, and this is the Bengals against the Steelers. The Bengals had a bye last week, and the Steelers lost to the Chargers. Obviously, the last
prediction, by the way.
obviously the last time this game happened, the Bengals won in quite a big shootout. I think it was 33-31. Um, was this Flacco's first game, or was his
No, because Flacco's first game
no?
was going against the Packers.
Was against the Packers. Yeah, exactly. It was. It wasn't his first game, but yeah, he really did show that maybe Joe needs to work on his ability to not get sacked.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think that one, the Steelers defense still hadn't like found its groove yet, and
Yeah,
two, I would genuinely just put games like this on Joe Flacco being in that one division so fucking long. It's like he knows how to play every one of those four teams.
yeah.
Like by look at like he knows the back of his hand.
I know. Yeah. The thing is obviously the Steelers are having one of those seasons where they determined to just go 9-8 and be done with it. They put up what seems like an all around masterclass against the Colts to win that game, and then pretty much shit the bed at the Chargers, both offensively and defensively.
And I will say
And
as
then,
well that this is something that has been, I'd say, publicly known and publicly voiced for many years by Mike Tomlin. Just the fact that Jamar Chase absolutely fucking owns them every time they play.
oh yeah, 100%. They just can't. They just cannot get his number at all. So I do think, despite and the Bengals are coming off a bye as well. Let's not forget that. So they've got a small advantage in the sense that they rested. They've had more time to prepare for this game than the Steelers have had. I do think, yeah, like you said, with the Jamar Chase factor, I don't want to give it too much away from my prediction that the Bengals will give a good run on this game.
I mean, like, yeah, this. I feel like the Steelers' defense has turned on now, and given the line that the Bengals had, have, even when the Steelers' defense wasn't doing particularly great, they still were able to get 2 sacks on him. I think
Yeah,
this is going to be one of those games where like Flacco's getting sacked 5 times, could possibly still be like making the throws and getting them off. But I think this will be a too much defensive pressure on the Bengals side that it kind of shuts things down. I don't think that the Steelers are going to perform well offensively because I feel like they just aren't at the moment. I feel like they're going through those motions of let's get in field goal range, and let's just kick it for a few points, and we'll just keep doing that, and that hopefully will eventually win us the game.
yeah,
I would think that they do a lot better because of the Bengals defense, but despite the Steelers record, there is still something in my brain that goes, I don't trust this team.
yeah. It's you to predict first, so you tell me what you are predicting.
Because they've turned it on. Okay, I'll go with the Steelers.
Okay, well, you made my decision because I was very much on the fence, so I'm going to keep it spicy and I'm going to go with the Bengals.
It very much could be either one of them.
Yeah. That brings us on to the next game, which is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chargers beat the Steelers 25-10, and the Jaguars lost in big style to the Texans. The Chargers seem to have turned it round. Lad McConkey seems to have turned it round. He had a great game, obviously, against the Steelers. The Chargers for like a 4-game stretch kind of look like, oh, maybe we put too much hype on this team, but it seems like they've, like we said, like I just said, they've turned it round. They seem to be what we expected from them. Jaguars are still in this weird team mode from looking amazing at the beginning of the season to losing to the Texans' backup quarterback. Extremely unpredictable team with the most mediocre quarterback in the world.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say.
A very weird team, and I think the Chargers were able to, like I said, that was a good defense that they played against the Steelers, and even without their starting tackles, and starting running back, they were still able to, you know, I would say dominate the game.
Yeah.
Whether, that's just because of how they're schemed against that type of defense. Like we said, you say all the time, the Jags are weird. They could be one of those teams where it's like, oh, we know they're going to use this defensive scheme this percentage of the time, so this will be our best. And then on the day, they're just it's like they've got a new defensive rule book. So it could be one of them where it's like, Jesus Christ, they don't know what we're doing. How are we supposed to like combat that? But I am hype about the Chargers. I like the Chargers.
I know you're a big fan of Chargers.
I think they should win this.
Well, let's move on then, and let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. For me, this is 1A, 1B on potentially the best and most exciting teams in the NFL at the minute. I think that simply comes down to the fact that they've got such a great passing offense, both of them. Obviously, their run offense is also great. There's no doubt about that. They complement each other very, very well. But I think what is so good about these two teams is they both have great passing offenses. They're both putting up great points. It's going to be a very hard game to predict. This is pretty much one of those division type of games where like the winner of this game is potentially will run the division for the rest of the season. But I'm pretty much very lucky. I am very much looking forward to this game.
Yeah, I would put this as game of the week.
Game of the week.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Smith.
This is also the third and final prediction game, by the way.
Of course it is, because why would it not be? And I guess it would be for me to start. Do you want to give your thoughts?
Both teams playing outstanding. I would say the only thing that's like looking bad on the Rams side at the moment is just the little like injuries they're getting, especially like to key players. Like obviously Nakua came back that game and then took an injury in the game and had to sit out for a bit, and then he still came back in. But like those are things you don't want to force in case it keeps certain players out for too long. Like you said, if they put everybody in this and won this game, so they're now leaders of the division, but then 6 players are injured because of it, was it worth it?
Yeah.
The Seahawks defense, fucking hell. I don't know how to describe them. They're amazing.
Yeah.
I get that people want the Legion of Boom back. I don't think the rules within the game allow the Legion of Boom to be back again, but I think this is possibly as close to it as you can get. And then, the defensive side on the Rams, I don't know how many times I've said that how I like it. Would this be the defensive side that actually gives the Seahawks O-line a run for the money and put some pressure on Darnold? Possibly. But I think they're both great teams. So I'm predicting first, yeah?
No, it's me, isn't it, this time? I'm going to go with, and I'm just basing this on winning experience, the Rams.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I was going to go Seahawks anyway.
I'm still being very naive in the idea that Sam Darnold is... I think he's a great quarterback, and he's proven he's a great quarterback. I don't mean it in that sense. I mean, he just lacks that winning experience that Matt Stafford has. And when you've got two juggernauts of the teams this season coming up against each other, experience seems to shine through.
Yeah.
And Matt Stafford has that in.
No, yeah, I get it.
Moving on to the San Francisco 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals. The 49ers lost to the Rams and the Cardinals lost to the Seahawks. Both very similar games, both very similar losses, and now both playing each other. This is going to be... It's one of those divisions at the minute, isn't it? It's like you got San Francisco 6-4, but third in the division, behind, like I said, possibly the two best teams in the league at the minute, or the two most exciting teams at the minute. So he's pretty much competing for a wild card. This Cardinals team, you said it before, they look slightly better under Brissett. I don't think they're good enough to take one over on the 49ers, despite the 49ers still being without a lot of their players. As long as they give the ball to Christian McCaffrey, they win this game.
I was going to say, I think this is possibly the game where, CMC goes back to how he started the season with the team. Like, there was the last game I felt like he was shut down a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I mean, he wasn't even the top rusher on the team.
But again, like when one person is both your rushing and your receiving offense, they're going to focus on you. This doesn't feel like the defensive side that even if they're like, we know exactly what to do, we can implement and, actually carry out that objective. Yeah, like you said, I do, yeah. Brissett's been, it feels like the team offensively has been playing better with Brissett. Defensively, we thought that the Fred Warner injury would fuck the Niners defense a lot more than it has. Does feel like people have stepped up. I know they had even more injuries recently, so maybe that has, affected that defensive side again, and the Cardinals could actually pull off an upset.
Yeah,
I do think this one's hard. Again, hard to predict, but the talent-wise and how you said before, sort of experience-wise in the winning realm, I would put this more in the 49ers' hands, but this could go to anybody.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens in another divisional game against the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens beating the Vikings and the Cleveland Browns losing to the New York Jets. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns have pretty much the number one defense in the league, and the Ravens are looking like, at the moment, having probably the number one offense in the league, simply down to Lamar Jackson. I think, obviously, the defense on the Ravens side is extremely poor. My thing is, the Browns have, I don't think, or as of last week, 20 points is the most points they've ever scored. They are not going to be able to outscore Lamar Jackson, despite having a great defense. He's going to score more than 20 points.
Yeah.
And the Browns offensively are just not capable of achieving that.
I completely agree. There's not much to talk about with this game, in all honesty. And honestly, looking at the stats of like the preview, it just made me laugh that I've seen like for the leading defender with the like sacks, the Ravens have Madabuke with 2, and the Browns have Garrett with 11.
Yeah, so you look at, for example, like last week, Gabriel had 167 yards and they lost the game where Fields had 54. Despite this Baltimore defense not being great and really, really struggling, they're just not going to get they're just not going to be able to stop Lamar Jackson scoring more points than that offense is capable of doing, even if they were playing against a bunch of mannequins. Moving on.
So weird. Ravens game is like that. Feels like it doesn't matter. Yeah,
I will say that I do think the Ravens win out from this point on.
Okay.
I'm going to put that stamp there. We'll move on to the Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos, another divisional game. The Kansas City Chiefs coming off a bye week, and the Denver Broncos winning 10-7 in a terrible game. It's quite funny because it's like you said, you sent that meme and everyone was clowning on the 10-7 for the Raiders, but the Eagles-Packers was a defensive masterclass, despite them ending in the same vein. Yeah. It goes to show how good the Broncos are defensively, when I think in the win probability, it's something I saw is like the Raiders were up 7-0 in the first quarter, and for a long portion of the second quarter, and the Denver Broncos still had a more higher win probability percentage, despite being down 7-0, just because they know what they're capable of. I do think this is going to be a true test for this Broncos team on whether they are deserving to be at the top of the division, even though they're third, the Chiefs are still the kings of that division, and you kind of need to take them down. I know they've already done it this year, but the Chiefs they've not done it this year, did they? The Chiefs seem to be on somewhat of a comeback. They're looking a lot better than they were at the beginning of this year. So I would like the Broncos to win this game, and definitely they need to. They do need to win this game to for me to consider them to be deserved winners of the division.
Moving on.
You've got nothing to say about this one apart from we'll see.
I mean, I think that the Broncos should win this. I like the Broncos more, but like you said, the Chiefs have. It feels like they've fixed themselves, so it could be another one of those games where they just like manage to eke it out because Mahomes gets the flag that he wants.
Yeah, it's the flag that he wants. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about the Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Lions beat the Commanders 44 to 22, and the Eagles beat the Packers 10-7. I do think this is going to be an interesting game because this is one of those games where you're kind of sitting there and you're thinking the Eagles are going to get found out here. They're going to get found out. They're a crap team. They've got crap play calling. They just have so much talent that's what's carrying them through. Blah, 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 blah. The Lions are going to destroy them, and then you just know or you just see that the Eagles are probably going to scrape a win against the Lions again. I would still not bet against them. I don't know how you see it.
The Lions have been a bit weird for me this season. Like I feel like they are still trying to be as dominant as they have been in the past, but it's almost as if like somebody, certain people have been like, all right, we've had 3 years of this now. We've figured you out a bit.
Yeah.
If we can just hide the pressure, then, like you can't get as much off as you want to get off. Eagles, I don't know what to say more. Like we've discussed them so much about how not bored we are of them, but how boring they are playing. Yeah. Defensively, like that last game, like you said, was a bit of a masterclass. Don't know if that was, them being so confident in like how much they've studied the Packers offense, because we know like they're predictable, that they like there was many times that they literally just on the line called out the play and then stopped it.
Yeah.
Lions are the opposite end of the spectrum. They are not predictable at all. Could the defense for the Eagles not be where it's supposed to be because of that factor?
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say I agree, and I think you was going to pretty much say what I was just about to say in the sense that, like, on paper the Lions win this game just because you see this as such a way more. They're a way better scheme team. Offensively, the better. The Philadelphia Eagles always look like they're struggling. You just still don't want to bet against them.
Yeah.
And you never do. Anyway, shall we move on and talk about the last game of the season, the last game of the week, sorry.
Yep.
And that is the Dallas Cowboys against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Cowboys lost to the Cardinals 27-17, and the Raiders lost to the Broncos 10-7. Now, for me, the Raiders' only wins come against the Titans, who are quite possibly the worst team in the league, and they obviously beat us in the opening week. I don't want to make excuses for it. We should have won that game, but we obviously were working stuff out, so it makes sense. If the Dallas Cowboys hadn't have just lost to the Cardinals, who it wasn't, they're coming off a bye week, aren't they, the Cowboys? If their last game wasn't a loss to the Cardinals, I would have a lot more faith in the Cowboys to win this game. However, I do think the Raiders are just fundamentally a very poor team. Geno Smith just doesn't look like the same player he was last year. Ashton Genty's hardly hit the ground running like everyone is expecting him to do. They've obviously got rid of Jacoby Myers out of the wide receiver room. I won't say he's particularly an amazing wide receiver, but when you've got Tyler Lockett and Jack Beck as your wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3, and I don't think Jack Beck is. Yeah, this season he's had 11 targets, which just isn't good enough as a wide receiver 3.
No, they're all going. I mean, it took him a while to get here and everything because he was injuries, but they are pretty much all just going to Bowers. I mean, I said this to Mitch and Tony. I think the way that Geno Smith is playing just proves how the coaching and like the scheme and everything has affected that O-line. Like we said the year before when he was at the Seahawks, how much pressure he was under because the Seahawks did not have a good line, but he was still able to make plays. That just shows how bad this line is playing at the moment because, we know a bunch of them are out of position, and it's not helping the team at all. And I don't understand why things haven't changed back yet. And then the Cowboys defense isn't great, so like I'm hoping this will be a game where both Bowers and Gentry both get the numbers back up because of the defense being rubbish. But the way the Cowboys can just put up points and this team just not being great, this is going to be an easy Cowboys win, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And again, that just about wraps us up. We'll obviously, again, said it at the top, but the Colts and the Saints are on a bye this week. Do you want to give us a quick recap of the predictions and which way we went?
Yep. So we have predicted the Buccaneers at the Bills. I have gone Bills. You have gone Buccaneers. Predicted the Bengals at the Steelers. I've gone Steelers. You've gone Bengals. And then we've predicted the Seahawks at the Rams. I've gone Seahawks. You have gone Rams. Last week, we only got one win each. You from the Jets win and me from the Eagles win. We're currently sitting at 18-15 in favour of me.
I think I'm going to win all 3 and go back to the top. That'll put me ahead of you.
It won't. We'll draw.
And that'll be me ahead of you.
Okay. But yeah, that's where the predictions are holding up at the moment.
Amazing.
Is there anything else we needed to say?
Yeah, goodbye.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. You can follow the podcast at BritCaveBlitz on social medias. I'm Smith, which is at SkyDaddySmith on Instagram and Instagram only. You are
Sam at SkyDaddySam.
Have you got a handle now? Oh
no, I don't.
Oh. And what would you like to say to end the episode?
I would like to say, what would I like to say, Smith? You tell me what I would like to say. No, don't say that because I know you typically say stuff that is racist. So
I was going to say something about noodles.
I'm hungry. I'm so hungry.
You prefer the Jets alt kit to the Patriots alt kit?
Never. I'm all in on the Pats now. I absolutely love that kit. It's my favourite kit. I've never said anything bad about it before. Huge fan.
Oh, nice. Oh, what's that over there? It's a BritCaveBlitz.